I'm trying not to smile too much, too.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We're the Two Old Farts. My name's Chuck.
I'm Lou. I'm the better looking of the two old farts.
How can you be better looking? You're missing a tooth.
Well, that's what makes me better looking.
Where's your flipper?
Too irritating. I put it on, and when I take it off, I feel like I'm pulling my teeth out. So,
yeah. And you
if
talked
I have to wear it, I'll wear it. But until then,
you're being
go
stubborn.
back Thursday. Huh?
You're being stubborn, old man.
Well, being stubborn or feeling pretty good. Which one is the better of the two evils, right?
Looking good.
At 78, almost 79, who gives a damn?
Your dental health.
That's what I'm doing. I'm taking care of my dental health. As long as your mom's not mad at me, everything's fine.
Okay. So, when was the last time we did an episode?
We did one last week.
Was it?
Wednesday,
Was it a week?
Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that?
Let me see. Let me look at. The internet's kind of slow. So January 16th, and today is the 20th. Yeah, it was a week ago. It seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Seems like forever, right?
It does. It does.
Well, I will tell you, as you get older, time flies by faster, and it don't seem like it used to. Like at your age, it seems like yesterday. At my age.
Yep. What about your age? You stopped talking.
it just, time goes by fast. It's like yesterday.
Okay. Oh, man.
We pick up any listeners?
We've got a few more downloads this over the last week or so. We are almost at 2,450. We're at 2,448.
Okay.
Now, here's the really good part. Since the beginning of the year in January, we've had 2 from Spain, 1 from Germany, 1 from Ecuador, 1 from the United Kingdom, and 1 from Nigeria.
Well, we didn't have any from Ecuador before, did we? I don't remember. Maybe one?
Maybe 1. Oh, and I forgot New Zealand.
Who's that?
New Zealand.
Oh, okay. Down under.
Yeah, down under the down under. Yeah, they're lower further down in Australia. But we're kind of international, man. If we get some Greenland and maybe some China or India, Japan, we'd really be out there.
Yeah, you got to come by one day next week so we can sit down. I got my list out looking at things, for podcasts and stuff like that. So we start jotting down some ideas and start doing so I can do some research on some stuff.
Yeah, but I also thought maybe we could share some stories or something about our time in the military. Maybe share some stories about being a father, grandfather kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I got a couple of notes here this morning to talk about.
What's that? What are your notes?
I'm gonna take these hits. I think I hear it better through the phone. I mean, through the computer than the headsets. I made a little note about Randall King. Since you sent the invitation, we talked about it last week. He sounds like a up and coming guy.
Yeah, he does.
One of the things that impressed me by reading a little bit about him is his sister passed away a few years ago. And one of my favorite songs is I'll Fly Away. I love that song. I know the song. Find his version of it and listen to it. He made an appearance on the Grand Ole Opry. And he sang that song. His version of I'll Fly Away is a song he sang to his sister when she was in the hospital, when she was dying. And everything I read about it on the Grand Ole Opry, everybody was standing in tears. And so I gotta find that version and listen to it.
Okay.
It's kind of excited now. And I never heard of Randall King before you mentioned it, to be honest with you. You know, that's like a lot of these young guys, because I don't follow that stuff like you do and stuff like that. But It sounds like it's going to be a really good show out at Flores. Of course, at Flores, you know you're going to have a good show.
Of course, it's John T. Flores Country Store.
It's Flores. It's what? How many years old now? About 50? 60?
Try 75, maybe.
Yeah, back in the 40s. So that's 60. That's 82, 83 years, something like that.
70 something, Dad. What year were you born?
I'm gonna be 79 this year.
So yeah, it's younger than you by a couple years.
Yeah, so they've been around because I think they started in the late 30s, early 40s. I don't remember.
I think it was 47.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, and hopefully it's March 31st, right?
I believe so. Let me check my calendar.
The weather will start late in the evenings. Will not be so cool.
March 31st, it still should be cool, but not like hot.
Right.
Not cold.
It should be the type of weather you can sit out there and enjoy and not be shivering like that last one. I thought I was going to freeze to death.
Yeah, well, it was November, Dad.
It was 40 degrees, 45 at night, at 11 o'clock at night. It's getting pretty chilly in Texas.
Who was that? What we saw? Who was it? Who did we see?
That was the guy had the girl singer.
Man, I'm not seeing it on the calendar.
Yeah.
Hang on. Dang, who was it?
I'm trying to think. I want to say something that starts with like Cody or something like that. I can't remember now.
Charlie Crockett.
Yeah, there you go.
It was Charlie Crockett on the 12th of November.
Yeah.
You know what, though? Didn't your son tell you to dress warm?
Do I?
Yes. Didn't your son tell you to dress warm?
Well, I did. I thought I had dressed warm.
I brought you a hat. I brought you a neck gaiter because I knew you wouldn't dress as warm as you needed to dress.
But it was fun.
Yeah, it was cold. Yeah. I think it gets worse when you just sit there and you're not moving around.
Yeah, when you're moving and doing something, it's not so bad.
Right.
So and we're going to be sitting in that same kind of area, or
no, sir,
on the porch.
We're going to be sitting on the porch.
All right.
We'll be a little bit closer.
Flores has really made that nice when they put those little decks out there where you can get a table.
Yep.
And and they have a bar out there, and they got the restrooms out there, and really makes it nice. It makes it fun, and you have the atmosphere of the outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you, when you look out over Helotes and look up those hills, that's just a beautiful sight. If you've never been to Texas, you got to go to Helotes and out in the hill country and all those Bernie and all those places. It's just absolutely beautiful country.
Could not agree more with you, old man.
And that's what we got to get started back again here pretty soon. You and your mom and Brenda would start making some trips.
Yep, we sure do. A few more whiskey distilleries.
Yeah, those are some good memories.
Yeah, they are.
Speaking of memories, I sent you a picture last week. Did you get it?
A picture? Yes, I did. I sent you a text back with it.
Is it you and Tina and your papa?
No, that's not what you sent. You sent me a picture of me at my promotion ceremony.
Yep. I also I think I sent you a picture of you and Papa and Tina when you and Tina were just before we went to Japan, I think it was. In typical fashion for your grandfather, sitting out there with his jeans on and smoking a cigarette.
Did you send it by text?
Two guys and smiling. Huh?
Was it email or text?
So.
Was it an email or in text?
I think it was an email. I'll send it to you again, but that brings back a lot of memories and talk about some things. And I think I sent you a picture. Maybe I didn't of the Daddy Dance. You and Mackenzie.
Dad, you only sent one picture.
Okay, well I'll send them to you. I got them. Going through and cleaning out some files on my emails and stuff. I run across those. Picture of you and Mackenzie getting ready to go to your Daddy Dance with her, and ran across your promotion pictures.
Yep, I've got it up on the screen right now. That's what you sent me.
All right, I'll send them to you.
Can you see it?
I see it. That little Mackenzie, and then there's Brenda there, and
yeah, and that's me. That's when I pinned on Chief Warrant Officer 4 when I was at U.S. Army Special Operations Command.
Yeah.
And as everybody can see, I had gray, white hair even back then. And that was...
But you're still looking pretty sharp there in that uniform.
Yeah, thanks. That was January 2009. It was 14 years ago, I think.
Yeah,
that picture was taken.
That's a few years ago. That's a good trip down to Fort Rucker and places we've been.
So that guy in the striped shirt that's I'm talking to with the purple and the gold or whatever, that's Denny Osgood. I worked with him and the guy in the front. I can't remember his name. He was our information assurance guy. But Denny, Denny spent probably 15 years in Special Forces. He was a Green Beret.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's who I work with him every day. Good people there at U.S. Army Special Operations Command.
Yeah, they're all good people. Sometimes they get portrayed in the wrong light, but you know what? They do their job to protect us and do what they need to do for us. Are you trying to make me feel bad, Dad, showing those emails I didn't send to you?
No, I'm just saying that's the only picture I got, Dad. I went back to it and I looked, and that was all that was in there. So I'm
going to send the other two because I saved them to my photos, and I'm going to see if I can call them up. And you know how computer literate I am.
Well, you used to not be. I don't know what happened. It's like in the last 4 or 5 years, you forgot everything you used to know. You used to be very computer savvy. You used to be very savvy, especially for an old guy. You were pretty good. And then all of a sudden, it's just like you said, I'm not going to remember anything anymore. I quit.
All right, I just sent you the one of you and Papa.
Let me see.
I'm going to have to look up the other ones.
Okay, you sent that one in text.
Was it text? Yeah, okay. I'm going to send you another. Here's a good one. You'll like this one. You talk about memories.
I like this one. I like this one. Everybody, if you can't see.
Yeah, that's a good
that's
one.
Me. That's my grandfather, my dad's dad.
That's probably the only time he's hugged his sister in a long time, too.
That's my grandfather right there.
That's probably the first time in a long time she smiled at you, too.
Probably. But it looks like I'm trying to keep her from doing something. Maybe try to keep her in the picture. And by the way, check out the pants, the striped pants. You know that was in the 70s right there, buddy.
That's where your mom was dressing you. She would always take care of you. You were reading to you.
And Aunt Marcia, if she sees this, she's going to kill me because that pantsuit or whatever, it looks like curtains or something.
Yeah. Those were good old days. Your grandpa sure loved you, I'm going to tell you. Remember the time he took you to the white spot?
I do.
Yeah.
I do remember.
And the time he burned you with a cigarette, and you felt so bad about it. He said, come on, let's go to the white spot. Drinking his Falstaff.
Yep, it took me to Opal's store.
Yeah.
I could get any candy I wanted.
Yeah. Those were the good old days. Those memories, that's what makes life. Especially when you start to get old like me, sometimes those are the things that get you through the day.
It is.
Yeah. So
man, we got a long 8 or 9 months before college football begins, Dad. What are we going to do?
Well, we're going to do like we always do. Sit and talk about it and hope like hell that we do better. And I think we're going to do good next year. We have a good recruiting class again this year. I think we're going to be number one in recruiting class. I think we're going to get a new OC and a new defensive coordinator.
So what are they going to do with the defensive coordinator?
Defensive coordinator's already gone to Ole Miss, and offensive coordinator is being interviewed for NFL job.
Yeah, I heard that, but where's Pete Golding going? It says he's already gone.
He's interviewing with Belichick with the Patriots.
Oh, you're talking about O'Brien. I said Pete Golding.
Oh, Pete Golding went to Ole Miss as offensive coordinator there with the coach at Ole Miss.
He was the defensive coordinator.
Right, and he's going to be the defensive coordinator at Ole Miss.
Oh, okay, because you said offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I meant defensive coordinator, which is probably good for him.
Well, but now he's going to give away all the secrets to Lane Kiffin.
I don't make any difference. You know, coach will come up with something different, put a little wrinkle on it, and make them believe one way, and then go somewhere else. So
yeah.
I watched those 2 games yesterday. I'm not really into the NFL too much anymore in the last few years. Am I getting too close to that microphone?
Yeah, it's not sounding good.
But I was really pleased to see the Eagles play, and Devontae Smith and Landon Collins and Jalen Hurts, which we have particular ties to. Huh?
How did the game go? Did the Eagles win?
Oh, man. When I turned it off, it was 35-7. That was like a minute and a half left to go.
Oh, yeah, they were done.
First play, Devontae Smith, about 40 yards, opened it up.
So speaking of Devontae and Jalen, do you have ESPN Plus and Hulu and Disney Channel? Do you pay for all those? You do?
Yeah. I have ESPN Plus and Hulu. I know that. Okay,
so go to Hulu, do a search for SEC on Saturday.
Okay.
Or Saturdays on SEC. I'm going to look it up. Anyway, it is a 8-part special. They're about an hour and 15 minutes long each, and it goes through the entire history of college football in the SEC from its very humblest beginnings. And it goes all the way up through 2019. It stops because so I think it's 8 episodes. So the first episode takes you all the way from its very beginnings until the beginning of the SEC in 1947 or 48, around that time frame. And then from each episode on, it goes by decade. So the next decade is the 50s, then the 60s, then the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and then the 20-teens. And that's where it culminates. And
I've seen most of that. I need to go back and get the last few series.
But it's not SEC storied, and it's not Saturdays Down South.
Yeah, right.
It was from having to do with the 150th anniversary of college football.
Right. And one of the things special to me about that Eagles game yesterday was Stan Meyer. We talked about him as our DAV Sergeant at Arms, and I went by and saw him and took that card. And he was actually was lucid yesterday. He was awake. His wife Ann was there, so I spent about an hour with him. And when I gave him that card and read it to him, Chuck, you should have seen the smile on his face. It's priceless. When you do something and make somebody else feel good, and his wife in particular made her feel good that he's been remembered, but it also was sad, made me think of your grandmother. So,
yeah, like we were talking yesterday, it just seemed like he's made a turn for the worse so fast. Because he was Sergeant at Arms up until the end of the summer, wasn't it? Early fall?
Right, about September, something like that.
Right.
And you wouldn't have recognized him as the same old Stan that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, he was always smiling and happy and just a joy to be around. And he enjoyed being around everybody in the DAV, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines. He loved everybody.
Yes, he did. Just a super nice guy, and it was sad, but unfortunately, that's the way life is. And Anne was telling me that yesterday was a good day for him. He was very lucid. We had some conversation, talked for a few minutes, and he was awake the whole time I was there. Of course, the day before was kind of the opposite. But it seems like, and it looks like he's getting pretty good care. But I'm going to tell you that card was very special. I read it to him. He looked at it, laid it down. A few minutes later, he picked it up, looked at it, read it again, and you could just see the smile on his face. And those things are priceless. So it makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, Stan's one of the good guys.
Yeah. And that's what we got to say about the DAV. I think, by and large, they do a good job of trying to take care of veterans.
They do try.
And I was really happy to hear about Tiffany's promotion.
Yes.
I think she'll be a good fit for that. Was it the sexual assault trauma victims unit there at Fort Sam Houston?
Sexual assault response coordinator.
Okay.
At Fort Sam, yeah.
She's
going to be a sergeant.
I think she'll do good. And the young lady that she brought in, I think that's going to be a good addition to the.
But more importantly, I'm starting to see more people that look like me at our meetings and not like you and Stan at our meetings. And that's going to be the key for longevity in these organizations is we've got to get veterans to join these organizations so they can continue to advocate on behalf of veterans.
Yes.
Make sure that they get the benefits and the health care that they have so rightfully earned.
Yeah, and the sad part of it, guys our age, unless we hear it from you guys, there's a lot of benefits we don't know about because they didn't tell you about it then. When you got out of the service, you just got out. And nowadays we're doing a better job of making you aware of what your benefits are and stuff like that. So,
but that's only because your generation, when you came back from Viet Nam and you didn't know about your VA benefits, as well as you weren't treated like the true heroes that you guys were, because America was in turmoil. A lot of people were against the Vietnam War, and they hadn't made the distinction between those who went and those who sent them to fight. They just lumped everybody in with the government who they hated for the war and make that separation because you didn't ask to go fight. The Air Force sent you to go fight.
Exactly.
We have what we have because of your generation.
And we have, and because of the previous, and that's where it should be. One generation needs to be taking and leading the next generation and making it better for them. And I was talking with Ann yesterday. We have got to do a better job of taking care of spouses and and families of veterans. We kind of laughed about it. An old saying when I went in, and I'm sure you probably heard it too. If we wanted you to have a wife, we would have issued you one. But you know what?
Yeah.
There's kind of a saying to it, but the wives and the families also the ones who take care of the veterans. When you're out deployed, They're running the families. They're doing the things. And they're your emotional support when you get home, and while you're gone, especially while you're gone. Yeah, I know
Go ahead.
So I know that whenever you were deployed, you were able to communicate better with Brenda and all of us because of the communications improvement. Whereas when I was in Vietnam, when you were born, as a matter of fact, they called me. I'm walking the flight line, and we were using the Mars. Remember the Mars, military air radio station?
Yeah, military affiliate radio system, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Your mom would talk to me, and she'd say over. Then I'd talk to her, and I'd say over, because there was a person in between listening to the conversation that was monitoring to letting us talk to one another. So, there's a lot of changes made, but we need to do more to take care of the spouses and stuff like that.
It was called the Military Auxiliary Radio System, and for those of you who are listening who have very little knowledge of the military or even old antiquated technology, what my father is speaking about is this is in the 60s, and the MAR system was used before all of that and on into 70s and the 80s, I believe. So what you had is amateur radio operators, and a lot of them would use HF or high frequency radios, which have a very broad reach. And they would set up these radio links from radio operator to where once they had it established, people in Vietnam were able to talk to the people in the United States over the radio. That's why they had to, when they would say something and when they would finish, they would say over, so that they would know to let go of the microphone, the key, and it would tell the other person at the other end to be able to talk. So you had civilians working with the military to make this happen. And it's a real marvel of technology.
But it worked in the day. It made my night. I'm going to tell you that particular day. The rest of that night was easy walking with me and Wolf, my best friend over there. Wolf was my German Shepherd canine dog.
Okay.
Yeah, those were the real heroes over there. They took care of us guys. One quick story. One night we were walking, and a friend of mine is in the POL area, and this dog stopped. Just stopped dead still, wouldn't move. He tried to get him to go forward, and he wouldn't. He grabbed him by the collar, trying to push him forward, and he wouldn't move. He just stood there. So he said, he knew something was wrong. So he started to take a step forward, see if the dog would go with him. Guess what the dog did? Stepped in front of him, knocked him over, and the dog got bit in the right front leg by a crate snake.
Oh, my goodness.
The dog alerted and was trying to let him know there was danger there. And for those who don't know, a crate is a pit viper in Vietnam, and we call them three-steppers. He took 3 steps. That's about it. That's not necessarily true, but that was a story.
Did the dog make it or not?
Anyway, we airlifted that dog out to Saigon, to Tan Son Nhut, for the vets there take care of him. In a few months, he's back working again. But that's how protective those dogs were of us and us of them. Because they truly were your best friend. And those canines still do that. And not only that, it's in law enforcement and all the other agencies that they help people.
Yep, that's a good story, old fart.
Yeah.
Good story. I remember when I was at Fort Bragg, I was flying over to Afghanistan, and we were taking a C-17, and we had a layover in Germany. I think it might have been Wiesbaden. For a couple hours. We were probably changing out air crews or something. And there were a bunch of Marines that came into the passenger area or whatever. And one of them was a canine handler, and he had his dog with him, and he had all of his stuff on his back, plus everything he had to bring for the dog, the water, the dog food, the chew toys and the tennis ball and all that. So he had to carry all of his stuff plus the dogs.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
That was probably one of my best assignments. Working
Vietnam?
Not Vietnam, but working with the canine. Probably one of the most enjoyable. You had somebody you could talk to who didn't talk back to you, obeyed your commands. But they did their job good. And the sad part, we just left them over. When we left, we pulled out. We left all the dogs over there. That's sad.
Yeah, it is pretty sad.
Because we could have brought those dogs home. And nowadays they have programs when they're too old or no longer fit for service for that. They give them to these different agencies for dogs for veterans, people who need who needs that kind of support, which is
right.
Good. It's good for the dog because they continue to have that love and support, and it's good for the people who receive them.
Yeah, things like I said. What?
Lackland probably doesn't get enough credit for that because they're for the Air Force and for the military. That's where they train most of the military working dogs.
I think they train all the military working dogs there at Lackland.
So I know when I was at Lackland before I retired, or the last year I was retired, one of the guys that was in charge of the canine program out there was Lieutenant Colonel, don't remember his name now, but he had a PhD in animal psychology.
Really? I'll be.
Think about it. That's what you need, somebody leading that school that understands the animal behavior. How can you teach people to respond to the dog's needs, what they are, if you don't understand what their behaviors are?
That's true. That's very, very true. You know what? This awkward pause gives me time to look at the calendar. At the clock, and we hit 32 minutes, old man.
Oh wow!
I don't know where the time went on this one. This went pretty fast.
Well, I'm trying to do what you asked me to do. Trying to do a little research, so when we start talking about like our last one, I was just kind of
rambling.
Figure out what the heck to say.
But you know what? Who cares? We're having fun, and hopefully, other people are entertained by our stupidity.
That's a good way of saying it. It is fun, but
a lot of people these days have podcasts, and I try to listen to some, but I don't have a lot of time. But I do listen. One in particular is the Old Man's Podcast, and he's out of Oregon, and I do like listening to him because he's kind of like us. He's an old man, and he just loves to laugh and have a good time. And I think that's kind of what we're doing. And I think you're getting good at being comfortable and sharing stories, and you've got a lot to share. You've got a lot of wisdom, and I want to hear it, and everybody else should hear it. And I'm just thankful to be doing this with you.
Oh, it's fun. I just got to get more involved, and that's why I said you need to come over one day next week when we sit down and get a pen and paper out where I can make my notes because I sure as hell won't remember them. And so
Me either.
Start doing some research and doing some things for the future, because that's what I did this morning. Just take a few minutes, make a couple notes here, so keep me on track. But it's fun. I'm enjoying the time that we have to do this.
So remember, people, we have a website. It's called the2oldfarts.com, and it's the number 2, not TWO. So it's the2oldfarts.com. You can email us at the2oldfarts@outlook.com. So we want to hear from you. Go to our website, shoot us an email. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you don't want to hear. We will listen, and we do want to hear from you. So,
Absolutely.
Again, thank you all. Yep. Thank you for listening. We're the 2 Old Farts. My name is Chuck.
And I'm Lou. I'm the better looking of 2 Old Farts, especially when there's tooth missing. Your mom a while ago, you're going to put your... I said, no. She said, all right. So I'll
He's
just
probably
snap a tooth.
He's the dumbest of the two old farts, I'll tell you that. And the most stubborn of the two old farts.
But it's fun. That's what makes life and makes memories.
It does. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you all. We'll see y'all next time.
Sunday, and we'll see you down the road.
All right. Take care. Love you, Dad.
Love you too, son.